There is a nice amount of accessories that come with the Pfaff Ambition 610 sewing machines. And when it's brand new, you'll find it in the accessory box that you can actually take on and off the machine. That's the free arm of the machine. But it's a great place to store some of the items you use the most. And there's a little opening in the back. So make sure that if you put anything back there, you don't forget it's there. All right, in no particular order, I'm going to just go through all the different accessories that come with this machine. And actually, let's start with bobbins. So there's actually 3 bobbins in the bag and 1 that's already in the machine. And one thing nice about the bobbins, these are a very easy to find bobbin. It is considered a class 15 plastic bobbin. So the one thing about the plastic bobbins, all it does is hold thread. So don't be afraid that it's a plastic one, not a metal one. Again, your machine is weighted for the plastic weight. So make sure that you don't put any other bobbins that are not this size and not this style in the machine. All right, so feet. We do have different feet on the machine, and we have a way that the machine will even tell us by touching the eye on the machine which foot to use for each stitch. So make sure you're checking out what that number actually is. So depending if it is a decorative stitch, it might call for some of the other feet that are more suited for decorative stitches. And let me point out just a little bit here. So this is a great foot for decorative stitches because you can see that little cutout on the back and underneath side for the stitches. Once they fill in, they have a place to go. Now, what's the difference between these 2 feet? So this one has actually a full cutout for the IDT, the part of the Pfaff machine that is considered kind of like the walking foot. That part comes down and fills in this area. So the feet that actually have that cutout and opening is for when you will have the IDT engaged. Well, if you have this foot on, there is not a cutout, so just make sure you disengage it. And the machine will even remind you to do that as well, as long as you take a quick peek at it. All right, a couple more feet that come with this machine. Number 3 is, I actually use this quite a bit because this little red marker is adjustable. I've used it for overlock stitches. I use it for top stitching. I use it also for a blind hem foot. So you'll see that the machine once again will tell you to use this for quite a few of the stitches on the machine. All right, foot number 4. This is actually a zipper foot. Now it doesn't look like much, and the reason for these 3 little spikes in the back is so it can actually be attached on the left side or the right side, depending on which side of the zipper teeth you are stitching down. Once you have attached it, the opening here and here, like the other ones, is for the IDT. So it can be pulled down, and then if you have really delicate fabrics you're putting a zipper in, that's going to really help you get a nice even stitch when you're sewing. But just make sure you don't put this on backwards. I have seen students put it on backwards because you can, and then it just doesn't work out the same. All right, zipper foot. Triton look, the 3 little points to the back at all times. Buttonhole foot. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, Sarah, I don't use and make garments. I don't ever use and need a buttonhole. Trust me, I'm going to show you some things you can use and make with buttonholes that has nothing to do with clothing. So we can use buttonholes to be decorative. We can weave ribbon through them. We can use them for things that have curtain rings or something we need to put through. A buttonhole is a great option. You end up putting the button back here, and the machine can sense how thick or wide it is and then make a buttonhole that exact length. So buttonhole foot. Sometimes I actually like to store this buttonhole foot in the back area because it's kind of long and tucked out of the way. So I might even put that one back there. There are actually 2 screwdrivers, one a little longer, so maybe for getting your foot on and off, and the shorter one for taking the screws on and off from the throat plate here. So when we go and clean out underneath the throat plate, which by the way you need to do every maybe 3 to 5 bobbins that you've gone through, you've got to get in and clean. We're going to show you the importance and where to clean out your machine. Easy to get in, easy to get out. There is also a seam guide in this machine. So you can actually set it, actually fits into behind the foot. There's a little opening. You slide it in and you can set that for like 2 inches away from your needle or more or less. And it is a great way to have accurate stitches that are parallel to each other. All right, next we have a multi-purpose tool. I'm going to be showing you 3 different things that this tool will do. First, you see a little hole in its tip that will actually be helpful when you want to take your needle out, slide that up the needle, loosen it, and it'll drop into the opening and you'll catch it. So it won't drop into your machine, and if this is hard to get your hands into, this is the extension of your fingers. It's also 2 different thicknesses. You see a thick side and a thinner side. Great for helping you get over a really thick seam like on jeans, and also for creating a little shank of thread when you're sewing a button on, you know, enough so a fabric can button underneath it. If you sew a button flat onto the fabric, it's not a lot of room for that second piece. This is that spacer that you can use when sewing buttons on. Spool caps. Let's talk about spool caps a little bit, depending on your spool size. So for example, I'll be using this one. So I'm going to use a bigger spool cap to kind of cover that up and let the thread jump over itself as it goes into the machine. And if you are using something that's a little bit smaller, the smaller spool, then the smaller spool cap will be good. Oh, hey, look at that. There's actually a total of 5 bobbins. It's clear, it kind of blended in. This is actually a thread vertical spool pin. It can actually sit right up here, and then sometimes you can put a little felt pad, and then when you put thread on there, I'll show you when and where you would use that one on a vertical style versus actually putting your thread here, which is where it will go on horizontal. Needles. Let's talk needles for a little bit. You get a pack of Inspira branded needles. These are wonderful, nice little variety pack, plus a jeans needle, plus a stretch needle, so a nice bit to get you started and for finer fabrics and heavier fabrics. You don't have to use this particular brand. It is easy to find at your local Pfaff retailer. You just need needles that are set up for a home sewing machine. So just make sure you have a nice variety. You never want to run out of needles ever. Okay, brush, cleaning out your machine. We're going to show you how to do that. And then a seam ripper comes with this machine, so nice to have close by. I think every single machine I've ever owned comes with its own seam ripper. Last little bit, I don't use this a lot, but boy, when I need to, I have one in the machine. So it's a little thread net, so it can slip over a spool of thread that's not behaving correctly. Sometimes I'll put it on when I work with clear thread or metallic thread. It just kind of gives it a little hug, and so the thread doesn't kind of come off too fast, or if it's kind of falling off the spool and puddling, that is an option. You just slip it over and then the thread just comes right off with it. So those are the things that are going to come with this machine. They will all fit nicely in the little accessory box in front of your work area. And next, let's get into all the videos that we actually use these feet for.